Hey guys, welcome back to Miko Acres. I'm Rick, and today is Home Brew Wednesday. Today I'm going to be brewing a Mr. Beer Saison du Miel, which basically means saison with honey, or a farm ale with honey. I have things pretty much set up, so I'll show you real quick. I just bought the deluxe kit and a little brown keg because I've done a lot of brewing before, but I stopped and then we moved, and so today, like I said, I'm just this is my second batch. I made a Bavarian wheat a couple of weeks ago that's finishing up fermenting, and then I will be bottling that next week. So stay tuned for next Wednesday for that, and then we'll also do an update on this. But what comes with the deluxe kit is 1 can of American ale, which is a hopped malt extract, and it's 1.87 pounds or 850 grams. 1 package of no rinse cleanser. 1 package of Belle Saison yeast. There is a package of ale yeast that comes with the HME, but we're not going to use that today. And it also comes with 1 package, which is 250 grams or 8.81 ounces of the Mr. Beer Golden LME soft pack. So we'll be using that. And then it also comes with a ½ ounce of Sterling hops, which I've already put in the hop sack. That way I can just toss it in when we're ready. And I have my little brown keg here, which I'm going to be sterilizing shortly. And I also have, I like brewing outside. It's just a beautiful day out here today. It's the day after Thanksgiving that I'm recording this, and it's in like, I don't know, mid to upper 70s. It's just been a gorgeous day, and I was like, you know what, I think today's a perfect day to be outside and do some home brewing. So I'm gonna actually, instead of pulling out the turkey fryer, and stuff like that, I'm actually going to be brewing on my grill. Super easy. I actually have a side burner, so right now I have just some hot water here, or some mildly hot, it's not ridiculously hot, but this way I'm going to put the can of HME and the honey in here just to kind of soften it up and make it easier to pour. I have my mini brew pot here already, which I'm actually going to heat up my wort right here on the side burner, and I have a couple of gallons of water all ready to go. So let's get started. I'm going to pretty much follow the recipe. The only thing that actually I should mention too, I meant to mention, the recipe does call for 8 ounces or 1 cup of honey. So what I ended up picking up, I figured I'd try something different. So instead of just getting a regular wildflower or clover honey, I'm going to use this orange blossom honey that I found the other day at Walmart of all places, which means it's most likely adulterated with corn syrup, but for our purposes, it should work out great. It says sourced from the southeast in California. What it means by the southeast, I don't know if that means Florida or southeast of some different country, or some different continent. Who knows? I don't know. Who knows where any of this stuff comes from? But like I said, it's most likely it's been adulterated. But like I said, for our purposes, I think it's going to work great. I did taste it. There's not a whole lot of prominent orange blossom flavor to it, but it's still a good honey. And I figured, what the heck? It was cheap. And it's a 12-ounce bottle, so that'll give me a couple extra ounces to mess with for different things. So here's the scoop. And also, you might see some unexpected edits because my neighbor has some friends over shooting over at his shooting range, which is directly in my backyard, just like that. So like I said, you might see some funky edits. That way you're not listening to that every 5 minutes. And my chickens are around. Every time they see something in my hand that looks like it's even remotely its food, they're following me everywhere. And the ducks are around too, so you might hear them. So let's get started, and I will be right back. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I am going to put about 1 gallon of water in my little brown keg here and add some no rinse cleanser and get that started to sterilize. So we have some water right here. I apologize if there's some issues with the audio. My microphone, my external mic died, so I have to order another one. So unfortunately, I'm stuck with the built-in audio from the camera, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me okay. So there's 2 marks on the back of the little brown keg. There's a number 1 and a number 2. So we're going to fill up the little brown keg here up to the number 1 mark. Actually, it might be easier for me to see this way. Yes, no, or not. I'm pretty sure it's going to take about 1 gallon. Yep, 1 gallon. Alright, so there's 1. And we're going to put a half a package of the BrewMax no rinse cleanser right into the little brown keg here. That's about half. Now I have a sanitizing bucket on the other side here. Then I'm going to pour the rest of the no rinse cleanser in. That way I can sterilize my funnel and other things in my, my measuring cup and things like that if I need it. So I'm going to do that now. The rest of that's going to go in there. That's out of the way. And don't relax, don't worry, have a home brew. Actually, I have to be full disclosure, this isn't a home brew. I just made that wheat 2 weeks ago, so I don't have any home brew in the pipeline. That is actually a Rogue Yellow Snow IPA that I've had in one of those 1.3 gallon mini kegs for years. My wife bought it for me for a holiday present or something years ago. I'd venture to say maybe 2011. It's an IPA, so I know you really shouldn't age them out. It was just one of those type of things. I just never got around to drinking it. So I happened to find it the other day. Luckily, when we moved, I took it with us. I just love the keg. And so I just happened to see it the other day, or a week ago or so, when I was brewing, and I was like, oh, I have to try it at least. And all things considered, it's super malty. Great hop flavor. Not a whole, mostly malt on the nose, not a whole lot of hops on the nose. Really a little flat, which could be just from the aging, I don't know. But all in all, a pretty darn good beer. And I've since discovered that I could actually reuse that little keg. So I'm going to give that a shot with my wit, my Bavarian wit that I have going. I figure instead of bottling it or something like that, I'm going to try to naturally carb it in that little keg. And again, that'll be on the next episode, next Wednesday, most likely. And so stay tuned for that. I have to be careful. For some reason, all of a sudden, some flies have appeared out of nowhere. So hopefully you can hear me, like I said, with the gunshots in the back. So we have our no rinse cleanser in the little brown keg. We have some in our sanitizer bucket over there, and I have a bottle of Star Sand that I already mixed up, so that's ready to go. And what we're going to do next is I'm going to take the can of HME and my honey, and I'm going to put it in the pot and let that start to warm up, and we'll take the next step from there. Okay, so the next step is we need 4 cups of water in our brew pot. So I have this nifty little measuring thing here that does dry measure or liquid measure. I love this thing. So we're going to do that. 4 cups of water, which I have already ready next to the grill. And that's going to go in our brew pot. And then we're going to light it up and get it heated up. I know the pot's a bit overkill, but it's what I had, and I'm going to use it as just generally as a brew pot in the future. Actually, you know what? Let's move this over here so you can see what we're doing, I think. Hopefully. And move that here. Okay, so I know the pot's a little overkill, but this is going to be my general brew pot. I'm going to be doing, I want to get back into doing some mini batch all grain and all kinds of stuff. So, figure I'm just going to keep using the same equipment. I got it set aside for it. So what we're doing now is we're going to bring this water up to temp. Okay guys, we're back. Our water's boiling. Now we're going to add get my scissors out of sanitizer. So next we're going to add our LME. First we're going to take it off the heat here. Ow, hot. So take it off the heat. We're going to add our LME package. And then we're going to add our, actually, you know what, we can do that first. I have our little hop sack here, so we're going to add our hops. Actually, I don't even think I need that. Or maybe I will. So let's open up our package of LME, and we will put that in. Make sure we get as much as we can out of there. Don't want to waste any of that sweet goodness. Alright, that should work. Set this over here for now. Malty goodness. Okay, so now I have my sterilized spoon here. We're just going to stir this up a little bit. We don't want this to to burn on the bottom of the pot, which is why you want to take it off the heat. We'll just mix this up a little bit. We'll get it back on the heat, and then we're going to do a 5-minute boil. Just enough to sterilize it. And then we're going to add our HME after that. That should do. Let's take that. We'll put it back on the heat. There we go. Not that much liquid in there, as you can tell. There's enough. Alright, so like I said, we're just going to mix this up a little bit, make sure that nothing's stuck on the bottom. Right, now we're just going to bring that back to the boil. Going to put a lid on it so nothing gets in there, and we'll be back when it gets to a boil. Okay, so now we're at a boil, so we're going to start our 5-minute timer. Give that a quick stir. Make sure that nothing's sticking. Yeah, that's good. Make sure our hops are in here. That looks good. Sorry about the gunshots. More people just showed up. Ooh, that's a nice golden color. Okay, so we're at a boil. Put our lid back on here a little bit to keep that air in there. And we'll be back at the end of the 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. I'm going to pull that there. Now, let's turn that heat off. Let's get this off the heat. Put it right here. And we're going to add our honey. It's already open. So, let's, okay, and get that in there. Ounces or so. 6 ounces. Do a little bit more. Yeah, we'll do a little bit more. Just more fermentables, right? More sugar. That looks pretty good. We'll give it one more squeeze just for the heck of it. That'll work. Good stuff. Yeah, that's nice. Funny, now it's a little warmer. I can actually taste a warmer. I can taste a little more of the citrus hint, you know. Alright, so let's move this. Move this back over here. Okay, next we're going to open up our can of American Ale, HME, hop malt extract. It's going to be easier to way. Leave that just like that. Get this up out of the way. Again, we want to make sure we get all of that nice, sweet, goodness. Scrape that off a little bit. Get that out of the way. And let's grab our can. We don't want to. And let's mix in our malt. Get that, all that goodness out of there. Typically what I would do is take some of the hot wort and put it in there. Or I'd usually have a little bit of hot water set aside. But I didn't do that this time, so. This isn't rocket science. Probably get a little more out of there, but I think we're good. Now we're just going to mix that up, make sure that gets all incorporated. Remember, we still have our hops in there. We're actually going to leave them in the fermenter as kind of a, I guess, almost like a dry hop. I would think at putting them in when we did as just like a 5-minute boil, they're pretty much not going to add a whole lot of bitterness. It's really more just a little flavor and aroma. But that's okay. This is a Saison. It's not supposed to be, wildly hoppy. So now that we got that all incorporated, we're going to bring it on over to our little brown keg. And we're going to get that all set up, and we'll be right back. Alright, welcome back, guys. Now I've already mixed in the no rinse cleanser in the little brown keg, and I've shaken it up and stirred it around. I've let a little bit out of the spigot, so that's all sterile. So now we're going to pour our wort into the little brown keg, and then we're going to top it off with some cold tap water, or cold water. I have tap because I have a well water, and it's good clean water, so no chlorines or anything, obviously. So next up, we're going to put our wort in the LBK. Don't worry about any residue that's in there from the no rinse cleanser. It's pretty much just a peroxide solution kind of thing. Alright, so let's get that out of the way. And now this is going to go in here. Get that hop sack in there. Make sure that's all drained out. That's pretty good there. Alright, so that's all set. Now there's a mark on the back of the LBK with a number 2, which gets it to 2 gallons, which we're going to add. We're going to add water up to that mark. Let's do it this way, that way I can keep an eye on it. There's our number 2. There it is. We go, we're at our number 2 mark. I'll throw this back on real quick and get my stir spoon. Add a little bit of the hop sack string on there. There we go. And we're just going to mix this up. Pouring it in aerates it pretty well, so there's no need to add any kind of additional aeration or anything. I use this this slotted spoon, this kind of whisk spoon, so that helps to aerate it also. Gets the temperature down with the cold water. So we should be about, there's no real major need to be concerned about your pitch temperature for your yeast. Being a Saison, we're gonna ferment it at a little bit higher temperature anyway. Pretty much just gonna, instead of putting it like, I'm gonna put it in a warmer part of my garage, up on a shelf, and the average temperature should be in the like low to mid 70s. Alright, so that should be good and incorporated there. Put this back on for a second. Now I like to get a starting gravity. So I have my hydrometer and my little filler tube here. So I think the easiest way to do it just use my bottle filler. I've done this once before and it worked, so hopefully it'll work again. Use my bottle filler, put my bottle filler here. Let's get a little wort there. Put this in. And we can fill this right up. If I go slow enough, it shouldn't add any foam on the top. There we go, just enough to get it to float. Put that train back down. This was sterilized, so it shouldn't be an issue. So we'll let that train back down in there. Get rid of plunger. Pour that back in. Okay, get that out of the way. That's all set. I think our temperature should be cold enough. I was going to measure the temperature just for the heck of it, but I don't think I'm even going to bother. And our starting gravity, you know, I think I'm going to add a little bit more water and get, because my SG is a little high, which is telling me that my water is probably a little short. And let's take that, mix this up. That's good. the lid on here for a minute, keep any critters out of there. Now, according to this, let's make sure. Oh, shoot, yeah. No, I guess I read that wrong. Shoot. Okay. I believe Mr. Beer's estimate for a starting gravity, this beer is 105.2. Let's see. They approximate 105.2. I don't know if that's temperature corrected or not. I'm assuming it probably is. And I'm getting a reading of about maybe 1046, 1048 or so. So actually, I probably shouldn't have added more water, but that's okay. Yeah, it's a little over the 2-gallon mark now, but that's all right. Let's leave that there. And no need to waste wort, right? Ooh, that's sweet, and it's hoppy from those sterling hops. You can definitely taste those sterling hops, which is nice. Mild, but obviously it's just going to be a sweet wort. Yeah, that's going to be nice, I think. All right, so that's all set there. That's all set there. Let's grab our yeast. Which our little yeast packet seems to. There it is. Grab our yeast packet. And we're gonna actually. I had my scissors being sterilized, but I took them out of the sterilizer, so we're just gonna hit them with some Star Sand here real quick. It's all set. Suppose we could check the temperature just for the heck of it. Get a quick temp while that's doing that. Actually, we're going to hit the yeast package with a little bit of Star Sand also. And temperature is down to 466 from that cold tap water. That doesn't feel like 66, but that's all right. Make sure. Yeah, that's, read it wrong. Well, like 70. 78 or so, which again, it's okay because we're doing the Belle Saison yeast, and we're going to be fermenting at a little bit higher temperature anyway. So let's see if we can cut this open. We'll get our yeast in. That up. And we're just going to pitch our yeast right in. No need to stir or anything. It will hydrate by itself. Not really a need to do a whole pack of yeast for a 2-gallon batch, but that's okay. It's not over pitching by all that much, so it's not going to cause any issues. And we want those nice yeasty. We want a lot of character from the yeast in the Saison anyway. So our lid's on. That's all good to go. Okay, so that was a pretty quick brew day, which is a big thing that I like. I know a lot of people used to kind of poo-poo Mr. Beer kits, or extract, or you know, a lot of purists poo-poo or talk down about extract brewing in general, saying you know you can't really make a good beer in extract brewing. And I got to tell you, I was a member of Brew Free or Die in New Hampshire when I lived up there. When I first started brewing, and I was for a couple of years. And per capita, probably some of the best brewers in the country were in that club. We had guys that had won the nationwide Patriot competition that was sponsored by Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams, and had their beer on tap at Patriots games for a year. We had a couple of guys that won that. We had another guy that won the Sam Adams National Home Brew competition. We had other guys. We had another guy that started. We had let's see. There's probably at least 4 members that are currently have their own microbreweries. We have you know, the majority of the members were all BJCP master judges. We got another guy that started probably one of the best meaderies in the country. That was our president. There was just a wealth of knowledge. Fantastic people. I learned a lot. I forgot a lot, but I'm still in communication with a lot of these guys. So it's still. I'm glad to have finally gotten back into brewing after probably close to a 5-year hiatus or so. At least 3 or 4. So we got our Saison all pitched. We got it all ready to go. I'm really looking forward to see what it's going to come out like. Saisons are one of my favorite styles. That and a good, just a good chocolate stout. I think is definitely in the pipeline. Like I said, I got my Bavarian Wit. The Bavarian Wit that I have in primary right now, I actually have it split into 2 1-gallon. I have it split into 2 1-gallon jars, and I'm going to experiment with it. I think I'm going to make one a fruit beer and keep the other one per style, just to see, to get the, you know, what the character is exactly out of it. I brew just the basic Mr. Beer Bavarian Wit kit with 2 packs of DME, dry malt extract, or what do they call it? Well, I forget. The booster packs is what they call them. 2 packs of booster, and the original gravity with that was like 104.5. I checked it this week, it's down to like 10.08. And I'm hoping to dry it out a little bit more, which is why it's still on primary. And then I'm gonna, like I said, I'll rack it over. And then I'm gonna add some kind of fruit extract, I think, to one. Okay, so that's it for now. We got everything covered. Beer's in the keg, ready to ferment, starting to ferment. And stay tuned, like I said, next Wednesday for the next episode, which is gonna be, like I said, we'll end up bottling our wit, hopefully. And we'll talk about what's next in the pipeline, and we'll check to see how the Saison here is fermenting and what the average temperature had been, and I hope to log all that. And so now I'm gonna get this cleaned up. It shouldn't take too long. And thanks for hanging out, guys. I greatly appreciate it, and we will talk to you all again very, very soon. See you later. Hasta luego.